All right, number one. Review worksheet number one. Decimal version and fraction version. First of all, you have to unscramble all the words to get the right values. 0.55 for PC, 0.25 for LC, and FC is X. We're going to use our 8.1 topic that the side squared equals the lowest part of the hypotenuse times the whole. So 0.55 squared equals 0.25 times X. We'll do some math, some arithmetic to get 0.55 squared is 0.3025. And then we've got a 0.25, we've got to divide to get X by itself, and we get 1.21. Our question was it at least 1.5 miles? And no, it was only 1.21 miles. Now, I think honestly the fraction version is a little bit clearer. You need to start with the fact that 55 over 100 is 11 over 20. Then you'll have 11 over 20 squared instead of your 0.55. And 0.25 is 1/4. Here you're multiplied by 4 to get rid of your 1/4. 4 and 400 interact to make you 100 on the bottom. You get 121 over 100. Tomato or tomato, just do what you can. The topic of number 2 is one of the more challenging concepts. So let's confirm a few things here. Let's confirm that these triangles are similar. That doesn't mean they're congruent, but it means all their angles are congruent and their sides proportional. B and E are the right angles. And then I just put A, C, and D, F in places where they line up correctly. A and D line up, and C and F line up. So our question is, what are all the expressions that are equivalent to cosine A? Cosine A represents AB over AC. Which other expression would be the same referencing sides? Well, it's not going to come from A's perspective, it's going to come from C's. From C's perspective, this is the opposite, and this is the hypotenuse. So, AB over AC is what we're looking for. We can get to it from C's perspective if we take the sine. So the sine of C is also the same as the cosine of A. Now, when we take the perspective of the other triangle, we're talking about the cosine of A. Well, the cosine of A references this side and this side. The cosine of D references DE and DF. Those are going to be the same ratio as these sides because of their scale factor, because they're proportional. So the cosine of D is our second answer. We need to think of our last possibility. We need to do DE over DF. And we can get there from F's perspective, seeing the opposite over the hypotenuse. The sine of F is the opposite of the hypotenuse, DE over DF, so we're looking for sine F. All right, another one of these in a very tough way is in example 3. If you're feeling just a little bit defeated by problems 2 and 3, this is normal. You'll feel better in a couple days. If you can handle the rest of the pack, you'll be happy. But we've got that we have a right triangle ABC. B and C are not the same. We don't have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. The sine of B is R and the cosine of B is S. Write an expression that represents the sine of C minus cosine C in terms of R and S. So it told us that the sine of B is R and told us the cosine of B is S. Well, who is the same thing as the sine of B? The sine of B, the opposite of the hypotenuse, would be the cosine of C. So the cosine of C also equals R. For similar reasons, the cosine of B is going to be the sine of the other acute angle in the triangle. The cosine of B will be the sine of C, and that will equal S. So when it tells us to represent sine C minus cosine C, sine C is S, cosine C is R, the answer is S minus R. There's plenty of places to be tripped up here. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just a challenging concept. Be happy that you're learning. Here's number 4. This is not as similar to problems we've done as you might think. Once you start and you acquaint yourself with the problem, got the 100 here, the 400 here, hopefully you're able to draw this second triangle. It looks like you're going to need right triangle trig. It seems like you might need sine, cosine, and tangent. But because you already have the two sides, you can just jump to Pythagorean theorem. Let's talk about y first. So with 400 and 150, y is the hypotenuse. 400 squared plus 150 squared is y squared. 182,500 equals y squared. So y is about 427.2. For w, it's just a little bit, for x, it's a little bit easier if you introduce a variable of w. You could reduce 400 and 100 to be like a 1 and a 4. So we have 1 squared and 4 squared combining together to give you w squared. That means that 16 plus 1 is w squared. Square root of 17 equals w. And then we have to multiply by that scale factor of 100. We'll get 100 square root of 17 for x, which is 412.31. To get the difference, write these out to a sufficient amount of digits and subtract 412.31 from 427.2. And the difference is about 14.9. Good luck on your studies.